Hello. Is anybody there? If you guys can see and hear me, it'd be sweet if you could type in the chat. First time doing something like this, so hopefully it all works decent. If you can hear me, can you say hello in the chat? Hello. Let's see if we can get a couple other people in here. Maybe get some questions, some Holley related questions or some tuning related questions, turbo related questions. I don't know. I just had this idea. I figured if it helped a couple people out or they had some specific questions that I may or may not know the answer to, I could maybe help. Did you have any questions, Hoodie? Something about Holley or boost control, or I'm an open book right now. If anybody's got any questions, let them rip. Oh, it looks like we got a few people in here now, so. I guess I can start talking about the little issue we've been fighting on Dad's car. We finally solved it. Okay, here we go. Dual Mac valves and onboard air this weekend. Heck yeah, dude. That's the way to do it, for sure. I've tried, we've tried on, I believe it was Dad's car. We had a single Mac valve. I want to say it was a Leash Electronics controller, and it takes some trying to get it worked out and doing what you want it to do. I had my old pewter car had an e-boost too, and I believe that was also a single Mac valve. Ever since we went to Holley, we went to dual Mac valves with onboard air or CO2. And man, if I say, I want 7 pounds of dome right here, it does it. So from a boost control strategy, and if you're doing no prep, I see streetcar, you could do like you could do boost by RPM instead of a boost by time off the trans brake release. So streetcar 4L80, I'd probably do an RPM based boost control and I would do dual Mac valves with like onboard air. Is how I would do it. And I consider my car a street car too, but it's boost by time. So the issue we were having on Dad's car, last year we fought it real bad. He had the 78-75 turbo on it, and no matter what we did, he always had a boost control spike of some sort. It would always spike off the hit and then kind of fluctuate, and then it'd kind of even out, but it always fought us a little bit. So that was last year, and we were able to get away with not running a reference. We just assumed it was the hooker setup and a lot of back pressure. And this year, when he added the bigger turbo, obviously it flows more for the exhaust side. Man, whatever that issue that we were having last year, we didn't even realize we were necessarily having, reared its ugly head this year, and we have been fighting it so much. But we finally figured it out. Even the last time at the track, we were getting up on the two-step. He was building like 8 pounds of boost. He'd let go of the trans brake. It would drop like 2 pounds before like spiking to 26 and then falling off to 20. No matter what I did, we couldn't figure it out. So we finally figured it out though this past week, and we just took it for a test drive today. We put it on the trans brake a few days ago, and it immediately made 8 pounds of boost when previously it was only making 4 in like half the time. So we fixed that issue, and now we took it for a test drive today after work, and Dad keeps saying that he's never felt it feel the way the car is right now, even on like the 18-19 pounds it's on right now. So my car is currently on compressed air. I have that little Via air tank. I could probably find it, show you guys which one it is. Yeah, here it is. It's just the small one. This is what I'm running on my car right now. It's a street car. I don't want to deal with filling bottles. Knowing my luck, I'd have a leak, and I don't want to fight that. I do eventually plan to put an extra fitting on this compressed air tank, so if I ever need to air up tires or whatever going from the track to the street, vice versa, I can. But yeah, that's the system I'm running right now. I definitely know a little bit more than you when it comes to holley, Dad. Mine is mounted. Oh, shoot, I don't think I have a picture of it. So on my car, the back T-top area, the T-top down part is all cut out, and it's got a flat plate riveted from frame rail to frame rail there, and then my fuel cell is mounted directly under that. So I have the air tank mounted to the left of that, with the little flap to get into the fuel cell under it in the center. And then I ran, because I didn't want to listen to the compressor, I ran the line from the tank up under where your stock fuel tank is, up on that high point of the frame rail. So I have the actual compressor there, and then I have the line ran into the air tank, which is on the left side of what used to be that T-top well. and then I just have my airline ran all the way to the front passenger strut tower, and then at the very front of the passenger strut tower is where I have the 2 Mac valves mounted, and then that feeds about a 3-foot, 2.5, 3-foot piece of push lock into the top of the wastegate. I don't think I have any old data logs from Dad's car. I can show the ones from today though. This is more or less his tune. It's an old version. Well, here, this is the this is our 2-step check from a few days ago. Rescale that. What is that? Fuel pressure. I don't need that. Staging. Obviously, we're on the trans brake there. Timing. You can see it as it's on the 2-step. You can see it pulling timing to build the boost. So it made, he floored it at 0.38. Here. So I set my 0 time there. In 4 seconds, it made just shy of 8 pounds of boost. And it used to take 9 seconds to get to 7. It was so bad. Oh, turbo's not that bad. It's an easy concept. Just exhaust in, spins the wheel, exhaust out, spins the shaft, sucks air in, forces air into the engine. So you can see those boost line here. I'd like to actually be able to see that. There we go. I need to fix that scaling. Dad ain't gonna see 40 psi soon. I'm getting close though. Frickin' stock bottom end. Oh, War in the Woods. War in the Woods was incredible, man. You're like driving through these super sketchy roads, like with an enclosed trailer, and you're like, okay, where's the track? And you just like you turn a slight bend on a tight corner, and it's just right there. And it's like, holy cow. And you look left and there's a racetrack, and then you look right and there's like a hill and a mountain. I'll be back for sure. With or without my car, I'm going to spectate. I'd like to bring my car, but if I can't bring my car, I'm going to spectate for sure. Yeah, the piping. Yeah, I get that for sure. You just got to get creative, not be afraid to cut some stock frame rails or some radiator supports and move the radiator a couple inches here and move the alternator from stock location to, you know, up high, and it's definitely doable. Nowadays you can do it so freaking cheap with VS Racing and all these budget turbos. It's crazy. We figured out what was wrong with Dad's car, and he'd have gone faster with that $300 turbo last year than he did, and I think he still went like a 620, which converts to like, or sorry, yeah, he went a 620. I don't remember the mile an hour. If he could chime in, it converts to like a 960 or 970. That's a 3,800 pound car with a stock bottom end 5.3 and a $400 turbo he got off Marketplace. And it'd have gone faster too had we figured out the issue. Yeah, you want to see 30 pounds. We'll baby step it. We'll baby step it up. I can't believe how much boost you made today on 5 pounds of dome. Yeah, and we got to figure out your low fuel pressure. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. It used to just go low when you'd get on it initially, and fuel slosh, but now it's acting like it's out of pump. Got to go through your wiring, make sure both pumps are running. Do a little bit of troubleshooting before Friday, no big deal. Yeah, here's Dad's first time rolling into it with the issue fixed. It used to take 20 pounds on the dome to make like 20 pounds essentially. We fixed his issue. That was it. And we'll let y'all know the issue in the next video. But we fixed it, and now it makes 18 pounds on 5 dome. Absolutely insane. And then I gave him 8 on the dome, and he was like a giddy little girl. My car's never felt like this. It's never pulled this well. And yeah, he made 23. But this is where the that boost versus time versus PSI control can be helpful. So like, oh, you can't see where my finger is, but so this max PSI I like to use on the Terminator V3 stuff. I like to use the max PSI. It's just it's an extra safety. Like if you're working up in your dome, right, you don't know what it's gonna make on the next few pounds of dome. So you can put this max PSI, and then if you get close to this max PSI, the holley will automatically adjust your dome pressure. It'll bring it down to try and hold that cap without going into a overboost or like a boost safety like these here. Like it don't cut ignition, it don't revert to wastegate. It'll just ride on that 23 pounds. So like here on the shift, it wanted to make 24 pounds. But because I have that set up, you can look at the target dome. It went from 8. It went from 8 on the dome. It went over 23. So it tried to make 24, but it caught it and it lowered the dome pressure to 7.5 to try and hold it at that 23. So that max PSI is really handy. I've used it in my car as well. Edgewater, I know me and Dad have talked about wanting to go. I don't remember how far it is. Yeah, Dad and I are both on E85, just pump. We get it from Casey's, I get it from Family Express, wherever. Everybody gets chalked up a little too much on the E70, E85, E90. It don't matter. Anything over like E65, E70, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be within a couple percent, and within that couple percent on E85 and on holley with some closed loop, don't worry about it. One does not make considerable more power than the other. We got a local car group here, and I see people all the time, posting photos of you know, their E85 testers in their 250 horsepower Beamers or whatever, and I'm just like, I just fill it up. Fill up my LS. It don't care. It's still gonna make power. All right, sounds good. Might have to do this, make this a once a month thing if it goes well. I like getting asked questions. Makes it easier to respond. I'm not just talking to myself. But yeah, dad's car used to never do this here. I guess this is a bad example because the max PSI caught it. Here, I think you ran this one out a little more. Yeah, I did. So 19. Was starting to tape off 18 and a half. Hit the shift. Almost 19. Almost 20. Almost 20 pounds on 5 dome. Crazy. Anybody else have any questions? Doing an RPM offset or a 3-step on a Holley Terminator, we can do that. Go for it, dude. Yeah, we'll have to figure out how to get Dad. I don't know if we can do it through like a Zoom or if I can just screen capture you on Facebook or something on a FaceTime to be able to jump you in here. I'd have to figure that out. So yeah, you can see the boost by time here. I would do boost by RPM. Unless you have a speed, well, 4L80 you'll have a speed sensor. I don't have one right now. So you could do boost versus speed on a 4L80 as well if you wire in the speed sensor. If not, I would do RPM. I don't know why the scaling changed. This isn't my tuning laptop, obviously. This is just my desktop at home. I have a laptop I use specifically for tuning. Everything scales a little different. I don't know why it don't carry over. But I'm pulling a lot more timing on Dad's car than I was mine. Maybe I need to try pulling more on mine. You gotta let these big turbos get up to like 4 or 5 pounds before you start yanking a lot of timing out of them. Otherwise, you'll lose RPM and it won't build. Do I run my bump? Yes. Yeah, I run both our bumps are ran through Holley. With we use Holley output, and then we are both using the NOS solid state relays. Oh, 100%. 100% stock manifolds. That's all I have. I have stock truck manifolds. They've been V-banded, but my old pewter car I had was the V1 Huron kit, and that used stock truck manifolds with the 3-bolt flange, the factory 3-bolt flange, and you would use a factory truck exhaust gasket on those 3-bolt flanges, and that's how the hot side bolted up. So yeah, 100%, nothing wrong with stock manifolds. Yeah, the biggest thing with foot braking is you want to build as much brake pressure as you can while you still have vacuum, because obviously as soon as you start making boost, you lose your vacuum. You could pull timing. I don't know if you're pulling timing on the two-step. That would help. You'll build boost, but the motor will lose a little torque. Makes 5 pounds at 2,900, but pushes through on the street. Like pushes, like the rear wheels start to spin because they don't have enough traction, or your front brakes are pushing through. I mean, 5 pounds at 2,900, that's not bad. I'm trying to remember my pewter car. I never had a trans brake in that one. I would 1/6 60 foot. I think I could only make like 2 pounds at about 29. At about that before I would start pushing through the stock 1998 Camaro brakes. I still was able to go 1/6 to the 60 foot though on foot brake. With that was when PTC's budget converter was like $450. So that's building boost on the trans brake. Oh, that one's all jacked up. Oh, my timing retard. Front brakes push through. Gotcha. If you have a proportioning valve, you can try and give it a little bit more bite. Lessen how much bite the rear has to give some to the front. $159. That's not bad. Making 5 pounds at 2,900 RPM. That's not bad at all, dude. What else I got here? Oh yeah, the scaling's jacked up, but I use a dome offset on Dad and I's car for staging on the trans brake. That way, if the car starts building, if the timing table puts all the timing back in it, so that is typically when it would be done building boost. Now, if it continues building boost because you're trying to leave on only like 4 pounds or whatever, like doing a no prep or a backside of the track, it'll actually bleed off. I put all the timing back in it, and then like half a pound later, I will start bleeding off dome pressure to try and manage that so it doesn't overboost as you're trying, if you're only trying to leave on a handful of pounds. Stock bottom end 5.7, yep. That was what my first turbo car was, LS157. It lasted 2 whole days on 93 octane and like 15-16 pounds of boost. I had no idea what I was doing. Like 12 years ago. But you already got the trans for it, that's for sure. Them 4L60s don't last. 7.3 on hard tire, that's not bad. Oh yeah, both you guys are getting it pretty good for LS1s, stock bottom end LS1s. They definitely don't hold what this new Gen 4 stuff does. I'm constantly impressed with this Gen 4 piston and rod stuff. But after I hurt that the stock bottom end LS1, well actually I went 15 pounds on 93 pump gas learning how to tune, barely knew how to use HB tuners. Tuned Dad and I's car when they were like stalled and had cams on them, and then we sprayed like 100 or 200 shot, and then I did a turbo on my car, and it immediately made like 15 pounds, and I was like, I don't know, it's fast, and it lasted like 2 days and killed like 6 ring glands, broke the ring glands on like 6 of the 8 pistons, racing Dad on the way home from a car show, like the second or third day it was done. And then I think I put the stock bottom and back together, and then I turned it down and went to E85. So I made like 8-9 pounds on E85 for a long time. That LS1 lasted a long time like that, beating the tar out of it. Multiple 4L60 transmissions though, and then a 400, and then I moved to Florida for a couple years, and I don't know if the turbo let go and sent metal through the engine, or the engine let go and sent metal through the turbo, but either way the turbo ended up locking up, like seizing one night. And after that, I found a used like Gen 1 PT88, and the motor was trashed too. Just bearings though, no ring glands or nothing. And I found a LS1, a rod piston LS1. And then I put that in there, and I beat the tar out of that, making like 950, 1,000 rear wheel back in 2016. Yeah, 2016, both Dad and I had 1,000 horsepower F bodies. Yep, you got a 6.0 ready? There you go. When the turbo locked up, I was racing one of the faster Mustangs in the area, and we were door to door from 40 roll to freaking 90. And then we both let off, or shoot, it was faster than 90. We were probably going like 130, 140 over the Buckman Bridge in Florida. And I let off, and as soon as I let off, I heard a, I was like, that was weird. So like we got to the meet spot, I pulled off, opened my hood, looked at my turbo. I'm like, that's not spinning. And I tried to wiggle it, and it was just stuck solid. I'm like, nice, great. Oh, yes. When Dad and I raced, I beat him. Yes. It blew up and put white smoke down for an 1/8 mile, but yes, I won. If the tune-up's right, 12 pounds on the 85 should be good for a while. The Gen 3 stuff's good for about, what do they say, Dad? Like 600 wheel, I think, is about what the Gen 3 stuff is semi-reliable at. Anything higher than like 600 wheel, you're pushing the Gen 3 stuff. So, you guys got any more Holley questions or setup? That was still with the stock 10 bolt. It was a 98 Camaro with the stock 10 bolt with the 342 gear, stock posi, stock 10 bolt. And I went a 1.660 foot. I went 620 at 120 with that car on a stock 10 bolt. And you know what the trick was for keeping that 10 bolt alive? I swear by it to this day. Stock torque arm. The stock stamped steel torque arm was the trick for keeping that 10 bolt alive. For the Gen 3 stuff, I mean, if your tune-up's clean, it'll probably live at 650 or 700, but Yeah, I'd have to do the conversion. 12 pounds. Well, if an LS1 makes 350, 400 stock, so you double it at 14.7 pounds. So that'd be 750 ish on E85, 750 crank. So you'd be about 600, 650 should be on 12 pounds. Probably 600. It should, you should be good at 12 pounds if the tune-up's clean. How do you turn your laptop on? I don't know. You hit the power button, boomer. Wow, that scaling is way jacked up. I don't think I have a two-step table set up on Dad's Tune. I'll show you guys how I do the RPM offset for a Terminator. I don't remember what his 4.8 was. I know what you're talking about, like the Big Bang series or whatever. But, I mean, just because it made 1,000 once or 1,100 once doesn't mean I'd want to run around in my street car at that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember. I know he's done a couple different motors in series. I gotta find my... Where's that file? Which one was I looking for? Oh yeah, mine. There it is. Nope. Here's my boost versus timing retard on the trans brake. And then if this negative 15 degree timing retard isn't enough, you can always go, you know, see what works. A lot of this is trial and error. You just got to know what direction, not to go too far in one direction, I should say. And too little timing and too much fuel can hurt stuff the same as not enough fuel with too little fuel. Well, sorry. Too much timing and too little fuel can hurt stuff the same way that too little timing and too much fuel can. Yeah, I'd have to find the video, Elite. I mean, yeah, if it's Gen 4, I believe it for sure. I mean, my car is making like 1270 to 1290 crank right now. What's my setup? It's a stock bottom end LC9, so it's a 5.3, Gen 4 rods, Gen 4 pistons, stock crank. It has VS Racing's $710 turbo on it. I'll pull it up. He's still selling it. It's the 85-102 special build. This is it. $709. That's what I paid for it a year and a half ago. So apparently inflation hasn't taken its toll on that turbo yet. But yeah, that's the turbo I'm running. I've seen 35, I think 36 pounds of boost once. It has a, I'll finish the setup. It's got a BTR intake, cam motion cam, custom spec, valve springs, the typical yada yada valve train stuff you need. It's got a turbo 400, local built by High Performance Transmissions. He's about an hour and a half from us here. It's got a PTC converter. It's a touch on the tight side. I need a few hundred more horsepower for it to be happy. So I know I got some ET gain there. And then it has a 9-inch with the 373 rear gear stock ratio. Is it better to do a Gen 4 5.3 or a 6.0 Gen 3? Well, I would say it depends on what you're doing with it. Your next comment is a turbo Fox body, so 100% I would go Gen 4 5.3 for sure. The Gen 3 6.0 is more than likely going to be a cast block, which weighs, I don't know, 90 pounds or more heavier than the aluminum. So that's almost 100 pounds you got to make up for. On top of that, you're going turbo, so you don't necessarily need the cubes, although the cubes are nice for spool and turbos and stuff, but turbo Fox body should be a relatively light car. You're going to go forced induction, so yeah, 100% Gen 4 5.3. The amount of power that they can push is nuts. When the Gen 4 5.3, your limiter is going to be fueling and your turbo, depending on what turbo you make. The 6.0, the limiting is going to be the motor. Obviously, and fuel and turbo. But the 6.0 is going to limit at 700. The 5.3 Gen 4 is going to limit you at 1300 and be 100 pounds lighter. And my car weighs 3,400 pounds to kind of finish the car setup, current car setup. But oh yeah, like Dad said, you could put Gen 4 rods in the Gen 3 engine. Well, no, I don't remember rod length and stuff. I don't think you can put your 5.3 rods in the 6.0. And I'm not saying Dad's saying that. I just don't remember. It wouldn't be worth it. Just run the 5.3. Yeah. I agree, Be More. Nuts. What a $709 turbo's doing. You just got a T4 on that thing? You need to wick it up. The extra cubes will be nice, but you'll definitely be heavier, the 100 pounds. What's your personal best, Be More? I know you do a lot of slick, kind of no prep street stuff, but oh, it's a 4.8. Okay. Yeah, you can get away with a little bit smaller turbo. Oh, Gen 3? I didn't realize that. You gotta get something Gen 4 in there, dude. Wick it up. Yeah, it was an idea. I had enough likes and responses. I figured may as well give it a shot. The first 10 minutes were definitely awkward. But I'm kind of getting used to it now. Just sitting here talking to myself. No big deal. Forged LC9 this winter? Heck yeah. Oh yeah. Force induction 91 or 94. That'll make some. Those will make some jam. I gotta decide what my next upgrade's gonna be. It's totally up in the air. One day I'm doing an FIS 91, 94. The next day I'm doing a GT55. The next day I'm going twins. I don't. I'll end up with whatever deal I probably find used and make it work. I'm generally pretty good at that. Cobbling together whatever used stuff I can find. Budget build. Even budget builds are hard to be budget anymore though. The input and output video for sloppy trans brake. I've never messed with the sloppy trans brake. Are you talking about the 4L80? Yeah, I think the sloppy trans brake is a 4L80 thing. I've never messed with one of those. I can help you figure out how to wire the inputs and the outputs and command them off of a button. But I don't know how I think the sloppy trans brake locks what, third? Like it applies the lockup clutches in third or something like that to act like a trans brake. I remember hearing about that years ago. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a little delay. I'll probably rock this stream another like 10 minutes or so. Hey, 560s on a Gen 348. That's pretty impressive, man. I gotta spend some more time on slicks. I'm lucky if I can get a mid 6 on the street right now. I definitely got the front side stuff starting to get that figured out. Yeah, I probably got a 85 102 I'll be selling this winter. It's cheap. So you need an alternative to auto manual mode. So you probably have the max ECU then. So the ECU's shifting your trans. The first thing that comes to mind if you want to build boost on a roll is you could set up an advanced table that activates on a button to pull all your dwell at a certain RPM and boost. So just like B-More's got one and I've got a video too on how to do an RPM offset or a 3-step. You can do, I would build kind of a very similar table to that, but then only activate it on some sort of scramble or steering wheel button or whatever. So you can brake boost, hit the brakes, hit the button, and then jam on the pedal, and it'll brake boost at whatever that RPM you set it as and sit on the 2-step until you let go of the button. That would probably be the way I'd go about it with the Terminator. I don't know if there's any I don't think there's any fancy anti-lag or anything you can do. I don't know about the Dominators, but they're also $3,000, $2,400 or whatever they are. The B-More's PB looks like it's 560s. I've been 523 a few weeks ago. I think it had a 5-teen in it, but it was driving left really hard, and that definitely hurted a few numbers. And then my quarter mile should have been better, but That was the first time I had ran quarter mile that hard. So it actually puked a little trans fluid under my tire. So at the very end, it gets squirrely on the quarter mile pass. So I lost a few mile an hour for sure when I ran quarter. And then I went an 8:19 at 164. Probably should have been a 167 or 168. Oh, you have a switch. That's cool. I don't know. I don't think you can do a rolling RPM like some of the fancy ECUs. You would have to do an RPM specific, but you could do it separate from your rev limiter. So you could set up like this. You could set up a dwell time offset, just like I do for the two-step offset, and you could do it RPM based and PSI, but you do it as a switch. So when this button, when whatever rolling two-step button is enabled, you will then have a 4300 RPM limiter under X amount of boost. So you can do this, and then it'll sit on 43 until you make 10 pounds, and then when you make 10 pounds, it would go. A single 340 fuel pump probably will not get you to 10-15 psi on E. You'll probably need 2 for that. Oh yeah. Yeah, so like Beamore's saying, if you have a switch that interrupts your trans brake, then the switch can be off and you can use your regular rev limiter, this one, as long as it's not activating your solenoid because that switch is off. So yeah, that would work too. No, I don't think you're not going to be able to change the RPM or the speed. Not on a Terminator. Those Supras and stuff that have just a rolling anti-lag, like it holds them at a certain... Yeah, he's saying like any speed though, be more. Well, what we're saying he can do is hold an RPM, and he wants to hold a speed, and you're not going to be able to do that. That's going to take like a Fuel Tech or a Motec or something that them Supra guys run, like Cletus's Supra, the beat up one. I can't think of what it's called right now. But he can just hit the button, and at whatever speed he's at, it'll hold. And then do the poppy bangy thing. Yeah, he'll need dual 340s for 80-pound injectors, because he'll have to run quite a high base. I had 3 on my pewter car when I made 950 rear wheel. I had 3 340s with like a mid 50, I think it was 55 or 58 base, and I was running out of duty cycle on 88s. So you could get away with the 88s with 2 320s. but you're going to have to run a higher base to get away with the 88s. If you went to 210s, I don't know if you'd get away with one, but you could definitely run a lower base and get more out of the pumps. Yeah, E85 takes a lot more fuel. Do some math. You'll figure 35 to 40% more. It's closer to like 33, but it's not an exact science. Yeah. I agree, be more. What car is yours, Elite? I was able to fit three 340s in my stock tank in my 98 Camaro. I need a Pro Dash. And I need traction control. See, I ain't got none of that fancy stuff. And I think my dad fit in his, he had a 2000 Firebird. I don't know what car you have, Elite, but he had a 2000 Firebird, and I want to say he was able to fit two 340s or two 450s in his. That's what he ran. '98. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I fit. It was they might have been 320s. Might have ran three 320s. But I would still say two. You need two 340s. Yeah, 98s had steel tanks. And their bucket setup is a little different. Instead of being like a plastic bucket, it's like a metal arm. So I was able to take that metal arm and like stagger the pumps around the arm and get it into the tank and then kind of roll it in there. I think Dad had to cut out the bottom of his plastic bucket for his 2000. Man, we figured it out this week, dude. I don't think you were in the stream yet. I haven't alluded to what it was, but I was right. We finally got it figured out. We're hoping to bring it to the track this weekend and get something done with it. Because it's been fighting them. It's been fighting us this year. Oh yeah, the Huron kit with the dual 450s. That's nice. Yeah, that'll be plenty. Yeah, rust and fuel is not gonna be good. Holy cow, it's been an hour. Alright, let me know if you guys have any more questions, and I'm probably going to end this here soon. Need to go finish eating dinner and hang out with the girls before they go to bed. Oh, don't stay nitrous. $14 a pound? Screw that. Think about how many bottles you got to go through. Turbo's unlimited. Put this hat back on. I'm showing my big forehead. Kids will do that to you. They give you a bigger forehead. I haven't messed with those Hellcat pumps, but yeah, they seem to be the next iteration of like the 450s. Back when we were all running 450 duals, the 525s are kind of taking over, flowing a little bit more. Well, if what I felt on the street was any indicator, I think we're going to blow that 134 mile an hour out of the water. Because if what your car did today, it does at the track, there's no way you don't go faster than 134. Yeah, turbo's the way. I don't know if we'll go eights, but we're definitely going to shave some off his PB this time finally. So, all right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming through. I'm probably going to end it, go finish dinner. All right. You guys have a good night. Take care.